Chas 50. And Krishna Kun, I really got to go.
Okay. Okay. Let's chant. Yes, please chant Mangalacharan and
Oh,
then.
yeah. Okay. I remember that. Am I added as a supreme controller
Yes.
here?
Yes.
All right. That's good. That's what I always wanted. Narayanam namaskritya naramshchaiva narotamam divim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat vede ramayaneshchaiva purane bharate tata adavante cha madhye cha hari sarvatra giyate mukam karoti vachalam bhangum gayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam Paramananda he madhava Padunga luchi makaranda Se makaranda panakori Anande bolo hari hari Harinka name bandhavela Parikorive chakadolam Se chakadolanka paraye Manamo rahu nirantare Manamo nirantare rahu Ha Krishna Boli Jiva Jao Ha Krishna Boli Jao Jiva Mote Udara Radha Davam Mote Udara Radha Davam Mote Udara Radha Davam Dharma projita kaita vota paramo nirmatsanam satam Vedyam vastavam attavasti shivadam tapatrayan mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kim Va Parayishvaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudhyate Chakutibishu Shubhistakshanat Nigamo Pataro Galitam Phalam Shukamukadimita Jabasamyutam Pivata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Mohoroho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha Anato Pashamam Sakshad Bhakti Yogam Madhoksaje Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam Yashimbai Shriyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhaktirudpadyate Pumsha Shokamoha Bhayapaha Srimad Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramaham Samekam Amalam Gyanam Padam Giyate Tatu Gyani Vairabhya Bhakti Sahitam Naiskarmyama Viskritam Tachchinvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchan Naraha Arto Yam Brahma Sutranam Bhadatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Bashirupo So Vedartha Paribramitaha Sarva Vediti Hasanam Sadam Sadam Samudritam Sarva Vedanta Sadam Ishri Bhagavatam Ishyate Tudrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Svadvachi Kuchit Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup Shri Bhagavatam Tate Veda Shastra Hoite Paramamahatam Chari Veda Upanishade Jata Kichu Hoya Tara Arta Nanavyasa Korila Sanchaya Jesu Tre Jeruk Vishaya Vachana Bhagavate Seruk Slokeni Vandana Jivera Nishtara Lagi Sutra Koila Vyasa Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoya Sarvanasa Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavira Stane Ekanta Shayakoro Chaitanya Charani Bhagavata Jena Mani Sejavana Samahu Tara Sasta Achijanme Janme Prabhu Jama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thank you very much. So, what was your impression of what you have heard?
Well, it's an interesting talk, this one. It's it's kind of like he's presenting. He was explaining what is the necessity of having a class in the Bhagavatam and that, and how I really appreciate how this is a Bhava Grantha. And he gave the example of the Brahmin in South India, or the people in South India, when they met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would just start chanting immediately. And therefore, there wasn't a big need for deep philosophical discussion about the Bhagavatam for them, because they were immediately realizing the essence of the Bhagavatam, which was Eti Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, as Maharaj was explaining. And Krishna is the essence of everything. And he told the story about the Brahmin who was always chanting Ram Ram. And then by association with Mahaprabhu, he started chanting Krishna Krishna. And I was just so delighted. I'm always delighted with Maharaj's presentation. There's a number of things which resonated with me. They say that if somebody likes a class, it's because they hear something they agree with. So I have to say, in my case, that's true here, because I really I appreciate this. Many of the points that he was making are things that I focus on a lot. And I liked especially how he was speaking how the Bhagavatam is meant to be experienced. And he said before the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people's understanding of it was incomplete. That's just so ecstatic. It's so wonderful to hear someone say that. And therefore, we were just reciting this verse spoken by Srup Damodar Goswami from Chaitanya Charitamrita Jahu Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavirastani, that if you want to understand the Bhagavatam, you have to go to a Vaishnava, which is what Maharaj is speaking about. And Srup Damodar goes on, Ekanta Ashray Kota Chaitanya Chani, you have to take one pointed shelter at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My Guru Maharaj many times would quote this verse, and he would say, what is the necessity of taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand the Bhagavatam, and explain, because the Bhagavatam is Prema Moyi Bhagavata, and to understand it, you have to have Krishna Prem. And basically, Maharaj was explaining how, he's pointing out how Prabhupada says that the Ras Leela is the essence of the whole Bhagavatam, and the purpose of all the other cantos of the Bhagavatam is to help us understand the Ras Leela. And the Bhagavatam is meant to help us understand the holy name. It reminded me of this verse from the first canto, chapter 3, text 40, which Fakir Mohan Prabhu once gave a beautiful explanation to. I'll put this on the board. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam, which Prabhupada translates, the scripture named Srimad Bhagavatam is a literary incarnation of God. Fakir Mohan Prabhu, and I'm not sure where he was speaking from, he said it was from Sanatana Goswami. As far as I know, it's not found in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, maybe in his commentary on uh, Hari Bhakti Vilas or something. In any case, he gave another meaning. Idam Bhagavatam. Idam, this Bhagavatam, is Nam Purana. It's the book all about the holy name. And therefore it's Brahma Samhitam. It's a transcendental literature. And Mars's comments reminded me of this thing that fucking Mohan Prabhu spoke, which I always get a lot of joy from. And he focused a lot on how we have to understand the Bhagavatam through Mahaprabhu. I have some notes from elsewhere about how we have to approach through Nityananda Prabhu. There's other different discussions about through Mahaprabhu. Mara spoke about Sambandha. I just collected some notes to kind of expand also some of the things that he said. And there's, if we want to go into it, there's Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Chaitanya Sikshamrita, and I didn't get a chance to look up the Bengali, but he discusses 7 different aspects of Sambandha, which might be relevant for us in our discussion to expand a little bit on what Maharaj was speaking about. And in general, Sambandha Tattva. And I also found those beautiful verses that Maharaj quotes from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which, and along with some commentary. Maybe I should put those up on the board. Is that good? And he was speaking about attention. The whole lecture, Krishna Kun didn't get a chance to listen to it yet, but it's a japa seminar. Really, it's just really ecstatic about chanting. So Maharaj quotes the sutras, and he says that this is not his translation. This is something I got elsewhere. 9 aspects of inattention are discussed in this chapter 1, text 30. Vyadi, which Maharaj speaks. Anyway, Maharaj explained each one of these 9 different things. Vyadi, beginning with sickness or disease, Stanya, mental laziness, Sangsaya, doubt, Pramada, lack of enthusiasm, Alasya, sloth, craving for sense pleasure, uh, Brunti Darshana. I had to laugh at while I was listening to this. This is a private comment. I was thinking of Prabhupada disciple friend of ours named Brunti Mataji. Some of the names that they got were a little unusual. So Brunti here means Brunti Darshan means false perception. Brunti means something false. I don't know how in the world some of the names were given. And Maharaj explained all these in different ways, and maybe some of you want to get into more of that. Despair caused by failure to concentrate, and unsteadiness and concentration. These distractions or obstacles. And I don't remember if I think he touched on this verse a little bit. Just jump right past it. Then the next verse, yeah, he spoke about this ekatattva. He used that phrase quite a bit about how when we focus on a single truth, and he said he gave this class, the last class before this one, and he spoke about how you don't, the Bhagavatam is meant to be realized through Bhav, and you can't realize it through philosophy and things. And afterwards, some brahmachari asked him, Maharaj, why did you speak all this philosophy? And Maharaj was saying, well, he didn't feel like it was so much philosophy. But then he got into this long explanation, which seemed to be one of the main points of his talk about the importance of understanding, and especially this verse, Eti Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishna's Tu Bhagavan Swayam, uh, to understand the Bhagavatam and to inspire us. And I was expanding a little bit in my mind about what Maharaj said, and I was thinking about Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, who, contrary to a lot of common perception we have, was not illiterate. He could read. He could read Bengali, and he loved the writings of Narottam Das Thakur, but he couldn't read Sanskrit, although he had a Sanskrit copy of the Bhagavatam in his ashram. And apparently there was some disciple he had who sometimes would read to him from it. And Gaur-Kishore Babaji devotees would ask him questions from the Bhagavatam, and he would speak on it. But it's significant that he couldn't read that book. And if we say that to understand Krishna, we have to understand the Bhagavatam, uh, then what that's saying is that, in effect, is that the Bhagavatam is not really transcendental and Krishna is not really God. Because if the Bhagavatam were really transcendental, then it wouldn't be dependent upon your mundane senses. And if you were blind or if you couldn't read, you could still understand the Bhagavatam. So that's an important consideration. I have a friend who's an excellent speaker and very scholarly devotee in the Bhagavatam. And he was once saying in a class, he said, unless you learn Sanskrit, you can't understand the Bhagavatam. And I didn't challenge him, but in public, but I spoke to him later and I said, how can you say that? That's just not our philosophy. And examples, Gorkishore Babaji and so many persons. I will certainly accept if you really want to get deep into the Bhagavatam, you should learn Sanskrit, and not just Sanskrit, but you should learn grammar, and not just grammar, but you should learn Vikaran, and you should understand all the different aspects of Sanskrit literature to really go deep in it. But we have the example of Krishnadas Babaji from Orissa, who wrote the first Gutika, or book about the Passion, the Astakaliga Leela, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna combined. He was the first Vaishnava to do that. He's a famous Vaishnava, uh, Siddha Krishna Das Babaji called Siddha Krishna Das Babaji uh, of Govardhan Hill. He was staying by near the Govardhan Hill. Anyway, at one point he was feeling very frustrated because he was very attached to his Nambhajan, and at the same time, he felt the necessity to study Shastra. And a good example of this also is Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami, uh, he, he studied in Benares, uh, Shastra and Bhagavatam. So Siddha Krishna Das Babaji, he felt the same need to study and to go deep, but he found it was disturbing his Nambhajan. He wasn't having time for both. And so he became very disturbed, so disturbed that he just jumped into Manasi Ganga to kill himself, to drown himself. He jumped into the water and nobody saw him for 2 or 3 days. And after 2 or 3 days, he came out of the water with a big smile on his face. And he had a copy of the Bhagavatam, which is dry, which he had found in the bottom of the lake. And apparently he had some ecstatic vision. Radharani came to him and touched him on the head or something and gave him all realization of the Bhagavatam so that he didn't have to spend all of his time studying. So this is something Maharaj spoke about, which I think is extremely important. And he spoke about how different types of faith, Lokik Shraddha and Paramartik Shraddha, and the explanation that he gave about Lokik Shraddha was got a standing ovation from my heart. He was saying that someone may have Lokik Shraddha, and they may be a so-called pundit. They may know some Shastra, but they're basing their faith in the opinions of common people. And what got the standing ovation in my heart was Maharaj's comments about how people have Lokik Shraddha, common faith. They're very impressed by miracles. And he was commenting how he didn't know any miracles in the life of Jiva Goswami. I'd have to think about that. I don't know if I can think of any or not. Anyway, it's not so important if there is or not. But we don't hear so many. And he said that Srila Prabhupada didn't have that. And that's just a very low class thing. You always hear that. Especially, I hear it a lot in devotees from Russia. You know, mine, this old lady had a dream, and Mother Yashoda came to her, or this thing or that thing happened, or even devotees in ISKCON, they write books, and the one book was written about a deity, and then they were saying that some Muslim had a dream, and he should get his daughter married to somebody from, he had a dream of the deity in his temple, and I, I'm not it's just something which impresses people with lokik shraddha. Devotees who have paramartik shraddha in the form of shastriya shraddha, who have faith in shastra, they don't need those things. And Maharaj spoke also about the importance of having some ruchi. And Jiva Goswami and Bhakti Sandarbha speaks about that too, ruchi pradhan shraddha, or shraddha which has some aspect of ruchi to it. And the comment that he made is also very similar to Bhakti Tattva Viveda, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, where he says that surrender is not enough. To be Sarvadharma Prityaga is not enough. We also have to have ruchi. There has to be some kind of ruchi. Otherwise, we can't really progress properly in bhakti. So those are my impressions in this talk. And I have a few notes we could share some things with. But I'd like to hear from some other devotees who maybe heard the whole talk, because I'm sure he got really more juicy toward the end. I didn't hear the whole thing. How did Fakir Mohan Babu comment on this thing? That's Leela Purushottam's question. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. He was speaking about the holy name. Fakir Mohan Babu spoke on this verse, Anbiya Vyatireka Byam, for I think 3 or 4 years. And like nearly 2 years, he spoke just about Vaishnava Aparad. For nearly 2 years, just on Vaishnava Aparad. And he was stressing about how the Bhagavatam is a Nam Purana. That was his explanation, that the Bhagavatam, either Anvaya or Vetareka, either directly or indirectly, it's all about the holy name. And just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give the holy name, and we say Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, and someone may question, then what is the necessity of reading the Bhagavatam if you just chant the holy name? And this is a point Maharaj was speaking about in his class. He didn't touch on this particular exact point, but from this Harinama verse, you could say, what is the necessity of hearing the Bhagavatam from Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj? I'll just chant Hare Krishna and why bend my head, break my head over this. The Bhagavatam is just like if you get a cheap deal on a refrigerator, and it's half the price of a normal refrigerator. The only thing is you have to put the whole thing together. You just get a bag of screws and bolts and different pieces. And so along with that will come a manual how to put it together and how to use it. So if you buy a car, if you buy a refrigerator, any appliance you get comes with a how-to book. So similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to give the holy name, he brought a how-to book, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. And Anvayavrati Rekabhyam, either directly or indirectly, the Bhagavatam, the entire book, Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam, it's about the holy name. In the form that we should learn the Bhav, or directly speaking, as in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam about Nama Bas and Nama Parad, etc. Okay, I'm out of breath. Okay, boss. Nikunja Biharani, is that okay?
Thank you very much. Leela Purushottam. Please share your impressions.
Krishna Kunmata just want to speak, or she?
Krishna Kant.
Hare Krishna. My preparation consisted of making Loki halava.
she had the real sense, the real beginning. She was doing something with Bob. She was serving Narendra Maharaj, so that was a real preparation.
I didn't get to hear anything. I had a very intense last 3 days, like really intense, and nights. And I didn't get to listen. I didn't get to read. Really, my zero prep. I have zero preparation. I'm so sorry.
Sounds like you got some sweet realizations with the halva and Guru Seva.
I'm happy that I'm really, it's wonderful to see Mirage. He looks, oh my Lord, he looks, I don't know, 15 kgs less than I last time saw him.
He lost a lot of weight.
He lost a lot of weight, but the biggest thing is the bronchitis that he's been having for 5 months. And it's, yeah, he doesn't look, he looks like he needs help.
Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, yes.
So many devotees are suffering the breathing troubles, like health issues with the breathing. It's quite interesting. This
Yeah.
Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu also, it's also about breathing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's difficult for them to breathe in the atmosphere of the material world.
Yeah, I also thought about this. The breathing in general here still, and also whether it's somehow Krishna churning the hearts of the devotees for chanting, because the bigger endeavor you have to make, the more, deeper you go in your heart. I don't know. So I'm very sorry, but I can't comment on the class. I just came to hear, and I am very eager to hear about chanting. I understood that was the main topic.
Madhavananda Prabhu covered all the wonderful points of Maharaja's introduction, as he as he mentioned after, I don't know, what was it, maybe 1 hour and 10 minutes of the class. He said, so this was just the introduction to the real topic I wanted to arrive at. And actually, if I could observe it properly, the rest of the class, you really covered all the points that were like extra, or it's not extra, it was part of it. It was like preparation for the topic, but the rest of the class, Maharaj only spent with Jiva Goswami's explanation of Ete Jamsa Kalapumsa, like proving it and giving us different how you call it, arguments for establishing that truth even against the other Vaishnava sampradayas who don't agree with that conclusion. So he really went like, as far as I remember from Krishna Samhita, because that's or Krishna, not Krishna Samhita, from Krishna's Krishna Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. And that's one thing that I really went through, Jiva Goswami's explanation of this verse, which is almost the whole Sandarbha, actually. So Maharaj just covers these points like one by one. He goes through those arguments and then establishing the siddhanta of that verse, explaining how is it Paribhasa Sutra, explaining why do we stand for that siddhantic conclusion against the interpretation of other Vaishnava sampradayas, that they try to claim that Krishna in that verse means actually Narayan. It doesn't really mean Krishna, because Krishna was already mentioned before in the chapter, and then so he just goes. There was one point, and it was mentioned already in that initial part. I was planning to ask for, because I didn't connect it for myself. Maharaj was stressing the point that if we don't if we are not strongly philosophically convinced about that conclusion, that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, that he's the original supreme personality of Godhead, that we will lose our determination to worship him. I was quite surprised with that, because I was thinking, like, what if we would, just hypothesis, what if we would just put Krishna not with that position, but being attracted to him in the same way as Hanuman is to Ramachandra, to Prahlad is to Nrsimhadev, and you know, like putting him as the Ishtadeva of our heart, without you know, like sent person conviction, and then claim that only this form is the highest and the original one. And so I was thinking, like, there is so many devotees of different forms of God, of Krishna, who are fixed with their devotion to those forms. So I just didn't get really the link, the connection between why should we lose our attraction for Krishna and our conviction to worship him if we don't accept his absolute position established by that statement at the Chamsakalatam. So Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam specifically.
Well, what if we start thinking that it's Lord Nrsimhadev actually, or Ramachandra or something, then we may lose that connection with Krishna. Isn't that simple and obvious? Maybe I'm misunderstanding you.
No, but what in that conviction, what is so crucial or crucially important on because I remember, like, discussion regarding Srila Prabhupada's actually commenting on how does it happen that devotees worship different forms of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada comments it like, it's a matter of taste. We like Krishna.
Was that the conversation with Malati in Canada?
It's a famous one, actually.
Yeah, I like that conversation.
We like Krishna. And
yeah.
it's that simple. And in that statement, it's a matter of taste. We like Krishna. What role does it play whether he's Swayam Bhagavan or not? We like Krishna.
Well, intellectually, it also helps us because we're not so fixed. And therefore, Maharaj was speaking about these different distractions. And one of them was this Bhranti Darshana, that someone has some false perception. And it's also connected with Lokik Shraddha. He gave examples, someone may have had some vision, or he said that they're chanting japa, and they're thinking that, I'm a gopi and I'm cooking for Krishna and this, and then they start thinking, yes, I'm very advanced because I'm doing this thing. And it's just speculation on their part. And it's actually a big distraction. And I can't remember what was he saying. Maybe one of you remember. I loved it. He kept using the word genius. He said that there's some great devotees that are not geniuses like us, these great devotees. I think that we're thinking that, oh, I need to add something. I need to have more philosophical shastric understanding. And therefore he's being sarcastic and calling them geniuses. You remember that?
Not really. Probably.
Oh, he used that word genius probably a dozen times or something. It was really cute. I liked it very much. Anyway, that was a side thing. That would be my understanding. It's not enough just to say, oh, I really love Krishna, because I'm from St. Petersburg, and I had a big piece of pizza one night and a nice dream about Krishna afterwards. So I have love for Krishna. It's not like that. It's some practical thing. And therefore, also, he's speaking about how the Bhagavatam gives us our sambandha. And I really appreciated that too.
Yeah, but that's also part of my thinking about it, that we are getting that specific sambandha by our mantras, by the bhajan pranali that we are getting from Srila Prabhupada, from our spiritual masters. We are getting that specific sambandha. I just can't really make that that connection with why should I lose my conviction and determination to worship Krishna just because I don't philosophically understand that he's Swayam Bhagavan.
Well, because it's not our, that's the point I was trying to make with this Bhranti Darshanam thing, that we have some speculation. We think, oh, yes, I'm attached to the form of Radhasham Sundar, this or that. But is it really genuine, or is it just some Bhranti Darshan? Is that just some false perception that I'm having, some illusion, some kalpana like that? And therefore, to have a strong foundation, we also need to have some philosophy. Mars was explaining that some people say that I believe in God, but then you ask him, what is God? And oh, God was somebody who was really bored and he created the universe. And then after some time, he saw it was really messed up. So he's trying to fix it up now. And so it's a fact. I mean, unless we understand what does Bhagavan mean, what does it mean by Krishna, then we may lose that. And it reminded me of the second verse of Raghunath Das Goswami's Manasiksha, that we should fix our mind on Krishna and don't even think about Lord Narayan or anything. So and going back to the point we were making before, that the purpose of all this philosophy is to make us fixed and to give us strong faith. Otherwise, our faith just may be some kalpana that oh, I have this sentiment, I have this illusion about something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let me share something with everybody here that I really liked. This is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Chaitanya Siksamrita. Actually, I just transcribed part of it. I'll show you. This is the Bengali. It's beautiful. So he's got them listed here. He speaks about different types of sambandha. Sambandha tattva vichar. How there's 7 different aspects, and you got number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a genius. He's so completely ecstatic. So anyway, I just transcribed this. Let's look at it with the English. These are 7 different aspects of sambandha. When we consider a relationship, these are the 7 different aspects: Krishna vichar, Krishna Shakti vichar, Rasa Tattva vichar, Jiva Tattva vichar, Jiva Samsara vichar, Jiva Nishtara vichar, Achintya Beda Beda vichar. My Gurmai spoke a lot about the necessity of understanding tattva. And he spoke so much about tattva. And of course, Jiva Goswami is our tattva acharya. He's given so much. If we don't understand Krishna vichar, what is the nature of Krishna? Why is Krishna so special? And what is different about Krishna from Lord Narayan? How Krishna has more qualities than even Lord Narayan. He has these 4 types of sweetness that Lord Narayan doesn't have. What is this Krishna Shakti vichar? We understand something about Krishna's energies. Yeah, and who primarily the gopis and all these different, and how those energies are Krishna's and how Krishna controls them. Rasa Tattva vichar, the science of relationships with Krishna and how that rasa works, and how it's not always exactly siddhantic, but it's bhava. And Jiva Tattva vichar, the different types of jivas and how they come to this world, and etc. Jiva Samsara vichar, how the living entities live in this material world, jiva and nishtar vichar, the jivas in the liberated state, and the chincha beta beta vichar, understanding about the oneness and difference of the Lord and the living entities. If we want to develop our sambandha, our connection with Krishna, these 7 aspects help us to do that. It's just like Rukmini fell in love with Krishna, she just by hearing about him. Radharani also fell in love with Krishna just by hearing about him. So we just hear about Krishna, we hear about Krishna's qualities, and that gives us some conviction, that gives us a sambandha, it gives us our connection, the foundation of our relationship. Does that make sense then?
Yeah, it's much clearer.
I love these 7 different aspects. These are really cool.
Nice. I'm surprised with the Rasa Tattva Vichar being as a part of the Sambandha Tattva Gyan, but probably one could be satisfied that it can be both like part of the Sambandha, because it's obvious that the taste of the relationship is part of the relationship, is part of the Sambandha. But on the other hand, one could, or at least in my understanding, it could also be part of the Prayojan Tattva, like how.
Well, here he's not necessarily just presenting tattva, although some of these rasa tattva vichar, jiva tattva vichar, there's a couple of words tattva mentioned, but you'll notice in each one of these different conceptions that the common word is vichar,
Yeah.
which means consideration. So it's not the consideration about rasa tattva. Here, I would say it's a consideration. It's understanding the basis of it in a philosophical kind of way, rasa tattva vichar, so that I can have some sambandha. I can have a relationship. I can have faith in Krishna in this particular way, that I understand there are different rasas with Krishna, there are different relationships. Unless I understand that point, then how am I going to be inspired to strive toward it?
Yeah, definitely.
I really love when Maharaj speaks about these things, it's a little bit like what we were speaking on yesterday, although I'm not near as expert as Maharaj. And I was just appreciating that when we speak, I was listening to his class today, that when we speak about these topics of rasa and the gopis and Manjari Bhav and this and that and the other, it's vitally important that we speak about them in terms of sambandha also, and how we're going to approach it. And this is what Bhaktivinoda is giving us here. He's speaking about rasa tattva vichar, and he gives us that rasa tattva vichar in Chaitanya Sikshamrita and in Jaiva Dharma.
Yeah.
And actually, it's interesting, in Chaitanya Sikshamrita, there's a whole section about Astakaliya Leela. Chaitanya Sikshamrita, the whole book is in Bengali, with a lot of Sanskrit shlokas quoted, primarily in footnotes, but sometimes within the text also. But when this one particular chapter comes about Astakaliya Smarana, then everything becomes Sanskrit. And there's no Bengali, it's just a Sanskrit thing. And I found that fascinating. What it said to me was Bhaktivinoda was all of a sudden putting up kind of a wall. That if you want to understand this, you have to climb this wall. You have to learn Sanskrit and do some. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to understand it properly. How is my hand raised? Should somebody do that to me?
Maybe
just
as you put it there.
Oh, really? Just I put my hand in and it does it automatically, huh?
I don't know.
That's really weird. I've been making some PowerPoint presentations. You may have seen some of our recent classes. And in Microsoft PowerPoint, when you drop pictures in, it tells you what the picture is. There's a picture of Prabhupada walking through a room and all the devotees are offering dandavats, and it says, many people lying down in a room. And each one that they give some explanation. So I guess that's AI, which I guess is how I also figured out to raise my hand. Okay, what's the boss think about everything? You're gonna give passing grades to us, boss? We get a gold star.
Well, if you are in samadhi and you meditate only on Krishna and he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and you understand that, then you passed.
Yeah, really. Thank you for saying that. Really, what Maharaj was really speaking about was samadhi vichar, or the consideration. The two words don't really go well together the way he's using them. Vichar meaning consideration, but samadhi realization that this is a basis of the Bhagavatam. And from the very beginning, that Lord Tani Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, Krishna revealed in Lord Brahma's heart. Very ecstatic.
Thank you. How many minutes do we have? Still? Or not?
Yeah, I need to be winding up in a few minutes. And Krishna Kun has, I don't know if Krishna Kun has any comments. She didn't get a chance to read through this. She was doing her Bhava Seva.
I think, yes, it was a big question of our last meeting by Krishna Consciousness, the tattvas.
I'm thinking about these 7 aspects from Bhaktivinoda Thakur about Sambandha. I don't think I've digested it. I
Yeah.
appreciated you sharing it. Anyway,
Okay, so Bhaktivinoda is making this point that we should have some vichar. Let's look at the Bengali here again, real quick. He says, sambandha tattva vichar, satita. Yeah, so there's Vishai, there's 7 different considerations of sambandha vichar, sambandha tattva vichar. So these 7 things are important for us to understand. And I feel this is very good supplementary comments for Maharaj's presentation, because Maharaj was stressing how, based on the Eti Chamsa Kala Pumsa verse, how everything is meant, that we should, everything in the Bhagavatam is meant to help us understand the Ras Lila. And the foundational verse for that is Eti Chamsa Kala Pumsa. And so what is a necessity, because the Bhagavatam is a Bhava Grantha, it's meant for Samadhi Bhasha, it's meant to be, it's compiled in Samadhi, it's meant to be understood in Samadhi. So he raises a question, and what is a necessity of studying all this philosophy? And he explained that if we don't understand the Sambandha, if we don't understand who Krishna is and what our connection with Krishna is, then we may lose faith in Krishna, as Prabhuji was commenting. And we've seen that with devotees sometimes. Sometimes they even seem very sentimental, like they really love Krishna. But if they don't understand the Sambandha Tattva and have some ruchi also, then they may just go away. So these are 7 different aspects that we should understand about our connection with Krishna, about our Sambandha. Does that make sense now, Krishna Kwan?
yeah. Reminds me of my earlier years when I was trying to read Krishna book, and I decided that I'll keep this for later. And right now I'm just memorizing Bhagavad Gita, and I just related to the first canto of the Bhagavatam so much, and to teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Bhagavad Gita, but not so much to Krishna book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is somewhere along these lines.
It's somewhat like what we were speaking about the other day, also in Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sundarbha, where he speaks about different types of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And some persons, they have this vichar pradhan. He says some of them have ruchi pradhan, shraddha. They have faith which is primarily based on ruchi, and some of them they have this vichar pradhan, which is based on philosophy and understanding shastra and things like that. I don't, from what Maharaj was saying, I wouldn't necessarily equate it exactly to that, because he was also speaking about the necessity of having some ruchi also.
Mhm.
But yeah, something there. By the way, that this thing, this program told me a minute ago, is you've been talking for 5 minutes or something, and so we're going to put your hand down. It said something like that.
Is
Nice.
it, sorry,
Okay.
is this Ruchi Pradhan and Vichar Pradhan, is that sort of equivalent to Shastriya Shraddha that leads to Vaikunta and Bhagavat Lila Madhuri Lobamai Shraddha that leads to Raganuga?
Yeah, those are aspects of it. Um, he doesn't necessarily say that. I just brought it up here. This is Bhaktivinoda says there's two types of paramartic shraddha, which you just mentioned. Shastra Varnamaya Shraddha, which is based on Shastra. It's governed by fear. And Bhagavat Lila Madhurya Lobamoyi Shraddha, which is brought about by greed from hearing. And then Jiva Goswami, when he speaks about Shraddha and Bhakti Sandarbha, and Bhaktivinoda really got into Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha so much. You see, especially in Bhakti Tattva Viveka, many of his books. He takes aspects from Bhakti from Jiva Goswami and he presents them sometimes in a little different way. Anyway, Jiva Goswami presents like this: is Shastriya Shraddha and Lokik Shraddha, which is what Maharaj is speaking about. And then he says that these two types of faith are either, and it's not like there's either Svabhaviki or Balapurvika. Svabhaviki means which is spontaneous and natural. And Balapurvika is something which Jiva Goswami uses the word Balapadita. It's didn't done forcibly, it's convinced by someone else's preaching. And then when he explains more about this type of faith, he says it's Ruchi Pradhan and Vichar Pradhan. And Ruchi Pradhan is someone who has a natural taste for bhakti, and Vichar Pradhan is someone who's inclined to logic and argument. Do we want to equate those two with Bhagavat Lila Madhurya Lobimai Shraddha and Sasarta Vardamai Shraddha? Perhaps. Perhaps that's what Bhaktivinoda is doing. That they would fit pretty well, I think. I just hesitate because the way Maharaj was making his presentation was that Shastriya Shraddha also requires ruchi. And also Shastriya Shraddha is Vichar Pradhan. So it seems like he's kind of including both of those within Shastriya Shraddha. But yeah, I would say this Ruchi Pradhan and Vichar Pradhan, they do seem to equate with the concepts of Bhaktivinoda. So yes, is my answer to your question, Skinny.
So then is that, I mean, to me, it seems, Nikunja Viharni, I also have a question to you, which is specifically about Maharaj's classes, because I think that you heard more from him than any of us, although Lila Purushottam Prabhu is doing really good. But is that, so the Shastriya Shraddha, this seems to be something that we can individually and by our own endeavor work on. And of course, we understand that it's always necessary to receive mercy to be able to actually get anywhere with it. But still, there is some scope of kind of self-improvement with this. But the faith which is based on greed and basically being enchanted by Krishna's sweetness, it seems that that's just such a wonderful, great fortune, and the only thing we can do, what's that? The only thing we can do for that is pray.
That's you. Somehow there's an echo.
it seems that the only thing we can do is just beg for association that will awaken or strengthen such greed in us, and of course perform all angas of bhakti, and pray and beg that they award us such kind of sangha. Is that the right understanding?
In the last lecture, which we were discussing in Russian, it was in Russian, Maharaj told that there are some keys to realizing Bhagavatam, and they like should be all together, like combined. First of all is faith towards spiritual master who is telling Bhagavatam. Second,
faith was spiritual master who is something Bhagavatam.
Who is speaking Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam,
who is telling Bhagavatam. Then, how is it? That before reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we should understand what will we be reading about, and this Mangala Charanam actually is very good for that. That we already should put ourselves into this sambandha understanding, like who is who and what is what. And then we should serve all living beings, even not like every day, 24 hours a day. We should be in the mood of service and do some very good deeds to all living beings around us. And the last one is constant meditation on shlokas, verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. That means we should remember them and also and constantly like meditate, and this will evoke some creative process, creative meditation in us, and some realizations also, which you could share between devotees in small association, like Sajatiya Snigdha association, where we could share some deep realizations. And so like this, these are all keys. Does it answer your question, or is it something else?
Can I interject? I thought he spoke some about this in this lecture too, because he's speaking about how the Bhagavatam is meant to be understood through samadhi, and therefore we approach a self-realized soul, Jaho Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavarastani. And part of what he said I found really fascinating when he was speaking about Lokik Shraddha. He said it doesn't mean that you know a lot of verses or you know a lot of Shastra. He said, but you're just proud about that. And wow, that was really fascinating to me, because someone may say, oh, that person has Shastriya Shraddha. They have faith based in Shastra because they know so much verses and things. Mars is pointing out, no. And it's perfectly in line with what he's saying, because the Bhagavatam is meant to be experienced and it's meant to be realized. And so we approach someone who's realized it, and by their mercy, we can also realize it. And so Shastriya Shraddha, in that sense, doesn't just mean that I went to Bhakti Vaibhav and I have a good score and whatever, and I have a certificate on my wall. But it's by the mercy of the Vaishnavas.
Yes, that this all together, it creates conditions so that Krishna, by his own will somehow give some realizations. So that's this.
Sadhu, sadhu. Okay.
Also, I understood that these two categories, like Laukik and Shastriya, they are like above those other categories, the considerations, and the discussion whether our Shraddha is like this Shastra Avarana Moyi and Bhagavad Lila Madhurya Lobha Moyi. I understand that they both actually belong to the Shastriya Shraddha, because we might tend to like overshadow that term of Lobha, meaning like no Shastra needed, but it also belongs within the category of Shastriya Shraddha because it's based on the proper Siddhanta. It's
Yeah,
based.
if you
It's,
say Bhagavat Lila Madhuja Loba, I mean Bhagavat Lila, you've heard some Bhagavatam.
yeah.
You've heard some Shastra, yeah. Good point.
So
I hardly agree.
like that Lobhamoy Shraddha is out of Shastriya Shraddha. No, it's within, but it sprouts from a different motivation, from a different impetus. That would be a good word.
Yeah, actually, Bhaktivinoda says that there's Paramartik Shraddha and there's Lokik Shraddha.
Yeah.
And these are two types of Paramartik Shraddha. And these do fit with what Jiva Goswami speaks about this Ruchi Pradhan and Vichar Pradhan. Again, and Pradhan, it means like a basis.
Yeah.
So this is, someone has a natural taste. Both of them, as you said, are Paramartik Shraddha, which is based on Shastra. But one of them is they have some ruchi, which comes shu shadadana shabhasadeva kataruchi from Mahat Seva, from serving the Vaishnavas, from serving Gurudev, whereas the other is Vichar Pradhan, which is, I would say, based on some pride. That I think I understand Shastra, and they have this Shastrartha Varnamaya Shraddha, that I think, Shastra is the most important thing, and it's based on fear. It's not based on hearing from the Bhakta Bhagavat. It's just only based on hearing from the Grantha Bhagavat.
Or also understand it like that it also might, we might also take it that it says that there is no really the lobha or ruchi. So the only ground that is available to you, where from the Shraddha can sprout, is your faith in Shastra or fear, whatever, however you want to call it. But as soon as there is, as soon as you get into the situation that you got the opportunity to hear Bhagavad Lila from the Rasik Vaishnava or one who has Lobha, then you can have the chance to get infected with it in a positive sense. And then your Shraddha, then your faith, your conviction will be sprouting from that Lobha, from that eagerness, desire, not just from like philosophical conviction, which is not bad, but that's the only ground that where you can stand actually.
Yeah, and therefore in the talk, Maharaj also was speaking about how people have this Lokik Shraddha. It's not really Shraddha, and they're always trying to convince themselves. And Jiva Goswami again uses the phrase Balapurvaka, which means it's something they've forcibly done, which is a fanatic. And Maharaj explained about the nature of fanatics quite a bit in the lecture. It's not the same as Sabhaviki Shraddha, which is just something which arises in a natural way by a relationship with someone that we love and that we have faith in as a person, and we're hearing Bhagavad, Katha from.
Yeah, and that example with the miracles, it was really brilliant. It explained so much about the nature of that Lokik Shraddha. I really love that point.
He's not real big on miracles. I love that.
Do I understand correctly? I seem to recall something from Shri Maji's book, and I don't have a better reference for it from the top of my head. But do I understand correctly that Shastriya Shraddha leads to Vaikuntha Prema? And
Not necessarily.
okay.
Because if you're reading from the Goswami literatures and you have Shastra Shraddha, but based on the Brihad Bhagavatamrita and Laghu Bhagavatamrita and other Goswami Granthas, that Shastra Shraddha is not going to lead you to Vaikuntha. And in fact, it's going to make you run away from it.
But wouldn't you term it differently? Wouldn't you call it this Bhagavat Gita Madhuri Lobamai Shraddha, even though that's also Shastra Shraddha, but that's a subcategory as we kind of understood?
Right. That's exactly what I understood from Lila Purushottam just now, that he's saying that actually both of those types of faith, those Paramarthik Shraddha in general, both of them are based on Shastra. But my understanding the difference is that one of them is based on reading and thinking what I can get by reading. The other one, which is and that one's Balapurvaka, is something which is forced. And the other one, which is Swabhaviki, is natural. The natural understanding, natural faith comes when I'm hearing from a person, from the Bhakta Bhagavat. That way, Bhakti doesn't explain that there, but that's my humble understanding of it. Okay, if this was a Cinderella movie, I would be turning into a pumpkin in just a few minutes.
Not getting the point.
Okay.
Time. Yeah.
Okay, please excuse me then.
Thank you very
Anshakopaludibhishcha,
much.
Sindhubhyo, Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namo, Namo Vaishnavendiki Jai.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I will send maybe this table which I promised to the chat. Would be the best, I guess.
And what's next?
What's next?
Because we are at the seminar, so what's
next? So we are waiting for materials in English. I don't know when they will give access to them. I guess so, or maybe, or maybe we could do some discussion next week once again to conclude everything. So this is like, because it is. I will send to you this table, and also just a moment.
So sorry, I need to check out also, but I'll see it in the chat, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. So this is like the way which we go. Oh, Krishna. It was very slow. Like all the topics of Bhagavatam from the very beginning till the end, and how our realizations should develop. We could do some discussion about this next time. So it is in Russian, but these are 10 topics, like Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Uti, Manvantara, Ishanapatha, Nirodha, Mukti, Ashraya. So that how this our development of our Sambandha, of our initial position, it opens and develops, how our love develops from one canto to another canto, from one topic to another topic, like what is going on with reader and worshipper of Srimad Bhagavatam. So my proposal is like this. And yes, and this table looks like this, like right now. And I will maybe add some. So here are these topics like Sarga Visarga, Sthanam Poshna, Cantos.
Great.
Then there's topics like Samkhya, Karma Yoga, pure bhakti and everything. Some narration and part of Krishna's body, and also sciences like physics, mathematics, chemistry.
This is funny. That's great.
Yes, and I will a few more things add here. And I will
Especially scientist. Good. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for all the help and yeah. So, did you get a ticket?
I will try to buy. I got money today, so I will try to buy today.
And you go for that 6:25 arriving to Brno.
Yes, I guess I will try to do it. It is the best option.
And the midnight leaving. That's a little scary, but okay. Monday
It
midnight.
is Saturday before Gaura Purnima, and I hope there will be long kirtan in Berlin temple, so I will stay there as long as possible, and then I will go to the train
So
station.
from here, you want to leave Monday,
Evening. You mean from, yes, also.
day, like almost midnight, isn't it?
Yes, also then.
Okay.
So I will spend a bit more time with with you and one night.
Little time, not a bit more, little time.
2 days, yes. But at least so. Yes.
Okay, so just let me know when it is confirmed that you have those tickets, and I will figure out how to pick you up, because 7:30 the program starts, and it would be we will pray that the bus won't be delayed because it's exactly from the Brno it will be like 1 hour drive to get to the place of the festival, something like that. Yeah, if everything, and it's Sunday, so it
Oh, I can take earlier. I will come then at.
no, it's good. It's good. And even if we are not there on DT greeting, then still Prabhu's gonna start his kata maybe 8:15 or something, and that should be safe. If you're not 2 hours delayed, then it's okay.
Usually it's it's Flixbus, and they go usually. They are independent, quite independent from all other transport.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Looking forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.